in the hell did we watch yesterday? The Arizona Cardinals lose to Seattle in dramatic fashion, and I've got some strong opinions on it. Let's talk about it next.
The Ben Garcia Show. Yeah. Best show in the land. Yup. Listen. Come and get your information from Ben Garcia. Get the latest on your quarterback, running backs, and receivers. Tune in, so any other show you don't need him. Any news that he giving out, please just believe him. Giving out the latest prediction and top-notch analysis. Wanna hear the truth, better have thick skin like callus. The latest move that your team just made can be damaging. The dudes ain't speaking no facts, they just be rambling. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman.
What is up? Welcome back into the Ben Garcia Show. Don't forget, we are live here on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 7 a.m. So hit that like, share, subscribe button for me, your guy, Ben Garcia, as we sift through the wreckage that is all things Cardinals, Seahawks. That's all this show is today. There's nothing to preview. There's nothing to react to. There's no other storylines. Yeah, the Suns will start hitting We'll start hitting some topics of discussion on this show. ASU football's got a big game tonight with TCU. And, the Diamondbacks technically still aren't out of the wild card race, but that's not what I'm interested in. Last night was a gut-wrenching loss to the Seattle Seahawks, I thought, in potentially the worst way possible. And let me validate a lot of people who I think maybe are being gaslit on social media. And I want to validate some of those feelings, and we'll get to those deeper in this show. But if you have already, as my guy Michael Evans in the chat, if you are already giving up on this Cardinals team for the year, I want to validate that feeling. I don't want you to give up. I want you to tune into this show often, but I don't want to lie to you. The Arizona Cardinals have not earned the benefit of the doubt to start slow and say to yourself, well, they're going to figure it out. This isn't the Baltimore Ravens. This isn't the Kansas City Chiefs. If the Chiefs fall 1-3 this weekend to the Baltimore Ravens, are you going to say to yourself, Chiefs are done? Or are you going to say, yeah, that's a tough start, but I trust Mahomes, Kelsey, and Reed? And the Arizona Cardinals have not earned that. That's the first thing that I want to validate very quickly before we quickly assess blame and give grades out. The second thing is, oh my God, do we have the worst coach in the division? And that doesn't mean Jonathan Gannon sucks. That's obviously kind of ridiculous. Jonathan Gannon has shown the ability to help build a team, obviously build confidence, instill confidence, and put together a game plan at least defensively. Like, you can't make the argument Jonathan Gannon can't coach. And why is that? Because Jonathan Gannon has shown he can by getting his side of the ball correct. How can you know exactly if a coach who's a newer head coach in the NFL can coach? Can they get their side of the ball correctly or corrected? Matt Eberflus could never do that. So Jonathan Gannon can absolutely coach, but you're asking yourself to this point, is he the worst coach in the division? And even if he can coach, do we have to do better? Because Mike Macdonald has beat him in 3 straight games, right? It should be, yeah. Mike Macdonald has beat him in 3 straight games now with Geno Smith and Sam Darnold. Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, let's not even have those discussions. They're better than Jonathan Gannon right now. Let me validate this other thing. Holy cow, do we have the worst quarterback in the division? Sam Darnold outplayed Kyler Murray last night, but it wasn't because Kyler Murray played bad. I think Sam Darnold's got a much better support system. Kubiak, Jackson Smith-Njigba, that offensive line on the left side is pretty freaking good, and Zabel and Charles Cross. And then, of course, they got Zach Charbonnet back there as well. Like, they have a pretty good operation. So I understand if you feel that way. I don't know if I could go there, but I want to validate some of these things. And that gets me deeper into this game. My first opinion when I'm coming together with a show, because, when I do these instant reactions, they essentially have no flow to them. I want to go here. I want to go there. I want to give my raw, authentic reaction. I will jot things down because I want to remember some of these points, but it's not like a typical show. And so my first reaction that I was going to have, and I quickly had to change up, was maybe the Cardinals are just a bad football team. I mean, every good team that they've played, they've lost to. And against the Seahawks, they were dominated in 3/4 of this game. But then they came back. They showed resiliency. I thought Kyler Murray, once again, was pretty good. We'll get to that in a second before you try to tell me the statistics that, can be misleading. The Cardinals right now do not look like a playoff team. And if they continue to play like this, they will not be a playoff team. And my first reaction that isn't, are the Cardinals a good team? Are the Cardinals a bad team? I think initially is this. I want to validate this feeling for everyone. I think it's time to finally fire and pull the plug on Drew Petzing. Last night was pretty inexcusable. For the fourth straight week, after coming off an embarrassing performance against the San Francisco 49ers, where you expect this team to kind of be ready to play one of their best games of the year. They were just embarrassed the other day. And multiple things pointed to, Drew Petzing might need to lose his job. The offense was once again conservative and anemic. Marvin Harrison Jr., some things are his fault, and we'll get into, Mitsubishi Marv in a second here. Or Mitsubishi Marvin in a second here. But last night, I think, was the last straw for me. The offense, after coming off of a game where you were conservative and anemic, and it cost you the game, you changed nothing for 3/4. You abandoned the run. We're still talking about Kyler Murray not running the ball. I remember that. Remember that conversation that I got in trouble for earlier in the year? When I said, Kyler Murray wants to run more. Cool, show me, don't tell me. I'm over this idea of Kyler Murray wanting to run more because I was the one that's like, he's been saying this every single year. Drew Petzing, it's time to go. It's time to go. Because this was supposed to be your soft part of the schedule. Nothing is given in the NFL, but let's call it what it is. There are easier games, and then there are games that are very difficult. And the offense through 4 games has scored 20 points one time. The offensive line has taken a step back. The 2 calling cards for Drew Petzing over the last couple of years has been, his first drives of games, he takes you down the field and gets you up immediately 7-0. They don't even do that anymore. First drive of the game, you hope they kick it over to the other team because they have no ability to script plays and get in the end zone. The other thing was, he always has one of the top flight rushing offenses in the NFL. This year, that is not the case. Prior to this game, they were middle of the pack. And so the 2 calling cards for Drew Petzing, you immediately get up 7-0, you score on your first drive of the game. That doesn't happen anymore. And the rushing attack has always been good under him. And you can't call him a dysfunctional offensive coordinator because he does that part of the game really well. And the offensive line has been pretty good under Drew Petzing. All of those things have gone out the window. The offensive line is worse, not better. The rushing attack is worse, not better. And they never score points on the first drive of the game. They never score touchdowns on the first drive of the game. It's time to pull the cord. Now is the time to move on from Drew Petzing. It is the perfect time to do so. You have the mini bye. If you fired him today, you can have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all of next week to prepare for the next game against the Tennessee Titans, which, let's be honest, is a soft landing spot right now in the NFL. And so now is the time to do so. I think even the biggest thing that is an indictment on Drew Petzing is the Cardinals have to learn what they have at the quarterback position. And I think you can argue Kyler Murray at times is carrying this offense, and Drew Petzing is hindering him. And so because it's a mini bye, you're going to have a week and a half to prepare for the next game. You should move on from him. Now is the perfect time to do so. You cannot let this thing linger much longer where it could eventually really derail the season. And then at the end of the year, everyone's potentially losing their jobs because of how big of a failure this could be. It's time. It is time. It is time. This team has got to move on from Drew. And I've seen the argument, and it's actually a pretty good argument, and I've kind of bought into it for a while. Look at this Cardinals coaching staff. There's like no one on there that has experience calling plays. You're probably giving it to Drew Terrell, the passing game coordinator. But that's not a good enough reason. If the only reason is, well, Drew's got experience and no one else does, Drew's experience sucks. You're just throwing him out there because he's called a play before. He doesn't do it well. It's not a good enough reason. And this team's got too many question marks to now that, because this team's got too many question marks that need to be answered. And so that's my spiel on Drew Petzing. It's time to move on from the guy. Now is the time. It's the perfect timing in the season to where there's still a lot of season left. You can figure this out. And you kind of have a mini bye, a week and a half to get ready for your next opponent in the Tennessee Titans. Here's my other take. I have been very critical of Kyler Murray. Very critical of Kyler. It's almost my calling card at this point. I have to remind people I'm blocked on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter from Kyler Murray. Not a big fan of mine. Totally fine. I'm not interested in being anyone's friends. I'm interested in winning games. For the second straight week, Kyler Murray is getting a defensive mind. For the second straight week, I am defending Kyler Murray. Because for a lot of the same reasons in the 49ers game, Kyler Murray, with all the deficiencies of this offense, Marvin Harrison Jr. dropping the ball, potentially costing him 2 interceptions, the fact that the offensive line gave up 6 sacks in this game, the play calling was atrocious again for 3 straight quarters. Michael Wilson's dropping passes, Marvin Harrison Jr.'s dropping passes. Kyler Murray found a way to get this team back in the game. And so, although I don't feel any closer, that's not true. Maybe I feel a little bit closer to finding out if Kyler Murray is the guy in the right direction, the good direction. But, I definitely don't feel any worse about Kyler Murray being the guy. Like, this is what drives me insane. I thought Kyler Murray was pretty good last night. Pretty freaking good last night. And here's why. Despite conservative play calling through 3 quarters, despite Marvin Harrison Jr. definitely costing him an interception, maybe 2, Michael Wilson dropped the ball early in this game. They are playing one of the best defenses in the NFL. The offensive line was terrible, giving up 6 sacks. Kyler found a way to get them back in this game late. And the most telling thing about Kyler Murray was, and I tweeted this out, and man, I thought I was going to get killed tomorrow because I thought I was going to have to do the Kyler Murray's got to be better thing. But in the final Cardinals possession of this game, in a drive where the opposing team knows you have to pass and you have to score a touchdown, Kyler Murray was freaking awesome. Was just awesome. The pass to Michael Wilson, where Michael Wilson makes a one-handed snag, was an amazing catch. But Kyler Murray read the defense perfectly. All the people out there, Kyler can't read a defense. He felt the blitz coming. He knew it was man-to-man. Michael Wilson knew he was on a quick out route, threw that ball with perfect timing, and Michael Wilson had to anticipate it, put a hand up, caught the ball. Good throw, better catch. Let's say that, right? And for the people out there, well, 200 yards, that's great. That's masterful. Either you think the Seattle Seahawks defense is elite or you don't. If you think the Seattle Seahawks defense is not elite, then yeah, 200 yards isn't great. But if you think the Seattle Seahawks defense is elite, then yes, 200 passing yards is more than passable. And plus, I don't care about the 2 passing yards. What did it look like? Did you watch the game? Nothing will ever substitute out watching the actual football game. And so once again, I'm defending Kyler. 2 touchdowns in this game. I thought he was masterful in that final drive. And yeah, he had 2 interceptions. I'll give you the first one. You could argue that was on Marvin Harrison Jr., but I'll give you the first one. I'm willing to admit and concede that might have still been a pick to Julian Love. But the second interception, it's a first down. Kyler throws it right in his hands. And Marv drops it. Picked. That's not a Kyler Murray issue. And so I'm not here saying Kyler Murray is this elite quarterback. I'm not saying he played elite last night. What I am saying is Kyler Murray's play last night was good enough for a win. And yet again, he wasn't supported. And because he's not Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Burrow, Stafford, he needs some help. Just like 20 other quarterbacks in the NFL, Kyler's not special in that regard. And so I thought Kyler played well. Like, if you have fair expectations of Kyler, like myself, I think right now you can argue he's in the 10 to 14 range of quarterbacks. Like, if you hold him to that standard, let's say he's 12th, right? Let's say he's 12th. We would both agree that he needs other people to help him. Kyler can only do so much, and he got no help once again last night. But what was most telling is, against an elite Seahawks defense, right? You can't point out the passing yards and say, well, that defense isn't very good. That defense is freaking elite. In the final drive of the game, when the opposing team knows you have to pass and knows you need a touchdown, Kyler was masterful. That says a lot about Kyler Murray. You know, it felt like on that 4th down call, he just should have put the middle finger up to Drew Petzing and said, yeah, I'm calling my own play. It looked like he checked out there. So, second straight week, defending Kyler Murray. Let's talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. because I know recently I'm getting, more pushback or whatever. Like I saw my guy Aaron in the chat say, also there are some soft people out there criticizing you. Whatever, like it's fine, like it's okay. And I don't want to call people soft. I don't want to do any of that. And whatever. Like I have strong opinions. I've said this for a long time, guys. I have strong opinions. I know that is a lightning rod for people who are going to say, yep, love that guy or hate that guy. That's kind of how it is in real life for me. People see me, I'm a strong personality, and oftentimes from afar, they dislike me, and that's totally okay. And in closer, I can't tell you how many times people have been like, oh, I didn't really like you when we first met, but I really like you now. I'm an acquired taste. It takes a little bit of time. Like, I'm aware. I think I like to admit to you guys, I'm a pretty aware person of what's going on around me. It's why, like on social media and stuff, like I don't go after people. So whatever. But the Marvin Harrison Jr. stuff is something that I think why I bring that up, that I've been a little bit of a lightning rod, because I've been very, very critical of Marvin Harrison Jr. recently. And like, I even had someone last night, someone said, can you just admit he's a bust already? And I'm like, no, Marvin was not worthy of the 4th overall pick. That is indisputable at this point. I saw someone else in here say, do you think Marv was still the right pick or something like that? That must be a new listener, which nothing wrong with that. I appreciate you being here. But I've been pretty clear. I never wanted Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 4th overall pick. I wanted Joe Alt, or I wanted to trade back and get a multitude of picks. Now, I never thought Marvin Harrison Jr. was going to be a bad player like he was for this season, but I just didn't think wide receiver was that important. It was less about Marv and more about the position that he plays, the position that he plays. But I always wanted Joe Alt, and I always either wanted to trade back, and someone had said to me, like, won't you just admit that he was a bust already? And I was like, wait a second. He had 900 yards as a rookie. He had 8 touchdowns. He's not a bust. Now, is he worthy of that pick? No. And then someone said something like, oh, you were really defending him. And he goes, show the receipts. And I immediately showed the receipts. And me and that guy have gone back and forth about Sun stuff. He's a good dude. No issues with him. But I thought it was funny because it was like, me defending Marv? That doesn't sound like me. I coined the phrase, Mitsubishi Marvin. And then last night I downgraded him to Mini Coupe Marvin. And, I thought for a second there I was going to downgrade him to Minivan Marvin. And so early in this game, I was a very loud critic of Marvin Harrison Jr. And so much so, through about halfway in this game, I said the Arizona Cardinals should bench Marvin Harrison Jr. What he was doing was inexcusable. Dropping passes, potentially accountable for 2 Kyler Murray interceptions, but definitely accountable for one that hit him right in the hands. He was disengaged in running routes. He was not participating in the running game. But there is something to be said about resiliency. And I don't feel sorry for athletes that make millions of dollars a year who pout on the sidelines because they're not catching the football. I was one of not many media members who, when Marv was getting emotional last week, I was like, what are we doing? I know you care. I'm not arguing you don't care. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, poor Marv, he just really wants it. Marv, man, you can just tell how emotional he is. I didn't care about any of that. You're the 4th overall pick. Catch the football. And so I said, yes, sit this guy on the bench. Like, at some point, there needs to be some repercussions for his actions. And he was disengaged, wasn't running his routes to his fullest extent, and was dropping balls. Get him out of here. They were all literally better without him in the first 3 quarters of this game, or first 2.5 quarters of this game. But then Marvin Harrison Jr. woke up. And I think this is a major credit to Kyler Murray. A lot of other quarterbacks would have given up on that guy, and Kyler Murray didn't. And to his credit, he probably should have, but didn't. And Kyler Murray was proved correct. And so Marvin Harrison Jr. showed real resiliency last night. And he continues to be that wide receiver that he just needs that one catch to really turn everything around. And you saw that with that big touchdown catch from Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, put that dude on a poster, Devon Witherspoon. Marvin Harrison Jr. literally mossed that guy. And so I believe that is the turning point in Marvin Harrison Jr.'s career. It's up to Drew Petzing to continue dialing up plays to him. It's up to Kyler Murray to continuously still believe in this guy. But I think that was the turning point in Marvin Harrison Jr.'s career. I mean, that was a, as the kids say, on his head catch on one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL. Marvin Harrison Jr. put Devon Witherspoon on a poster. And so, credit to Marv. That's real resiliency. And that's something you have to show in this league. Real resiliency. And so, although, I saw my guy Jody Ayler say this, so I don't want to coin this phrase. And, Jody's a, big, mentor to mine. Good dude. He had said something like Marvin Harrison Jr.'s like playing like a trust fund wide receiver. And I thought, man, I wish I coined that phrase because that's really good too. And he was. But Marvin showed real resiliency. And he deserves a ton of credit for that. And I feel like he's the type of guy who we've seen over the past couple weeks can be very emotional. And one big catch can change everything. And so Marvin made that big play, and I think it's going to be the turning point in his career. You start to, you see these flashes of Marv. And even last week, it was a throw that was behind him for a first down against the San Francisco 49ers that he caught easily. And last night, it was the Devon Witherspoon, on his head, Moss. So credit to Marv for showing real resiliency. I think Marvin Harrison Jr., that might be the turning point that he needed. And you saw it. Like, I want to see that you care about it on the field. And after he caught that ball, I want to see that you care about it on the field, not in post-game pressers with the media where you get emotional. I want to see you get emotional on the field. And that touchdown where you kind of bent over, sigh of relief, I think that could change the trajectory of Marvin Harrison Jr.'s career. And then here's my last point. I know that a lot of you are frustrated with the Arizona Cardinals this morning. And I understand that, you don't feel great about their chances right now. There were some things to take away from that game. The offense woke up late and I think showed some real promise. I mean, Michael Wilson Jr. continues to show when he gets opportunities, he's a pretty good wide receiver in this league. Like, I have never said to myself, Michael Wilson can't play. I have said that about Marvin Harrison Jr. Obviously, that's wrong. But Marvin Harrison Jr. showed up in this game late. I think they need to continue running the football. But what I will say is, and I was a victim of this last night too when I had rash reactions, and that's why I like doing this in the morning. I can do it with a little bit more of a clear head. The Arizona Cardinals are not out of this. They are not out of this. They need to obviously be better offensively. But I think last night might have changed things for the better. I think Jonathan Gannon is finally fed up with this offense. And either you move on from Drew Petzing, which I'm totally in favor of, or Jonathan Gannon walks in that office and says, dude, open up the playbook or you're out of here. And Marvin Harrison Jr. woke up late. And you got to have it drive. The opposing team knows you have to pass and you need to score a touchdown. Kyler Murray was freaking good. He was freaking good. So I know it's bleak right now. And they're 2-2 through 4 weeks. But it is not over. We don't know what's going to happen late in the season. And I've been pretty impressed with the Cardinals' quarterback play. The offensive line is only going to get better when they finally move out Jonah Williams and Isaiah Adams for Will Hernandez and Kelvin Beachum. And this team doesn't look like a playoff team now. But let's say TBD on this later. If there's no adjustments, if there's no changes after week 5, week 6, then yes, we can have that topic of discussion. But the Cardinals right now, it feels low. But I think this team is going to get it figured out and make things really competitive late in the season. That's my honest reaction to it. So that's how I feel about that, guys. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Ben Garcia Show. Don't forget, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 a.m., we are live here on YouTube. And so I will see you guys on Monday at 7 a.m. as well as, guys, I keep on saying this, but I want to continue to say this. I'm so thankful that you guys are here. You guys, make my dream come true every single day, being able to be in here and just talk to you guys into a microphone, into the camera. So I know I can get animated. I know I can get a little, wild sometimes, and that's on me. But you guys continue to make this dream a reality. Everything is growing, socials, YouTube, and so because of you guys, I understand I'm going to make a couple of people mad. That happens. I want to be, everyone's best friend, but I also want to be honest. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for being here. It's been the Ben Garcia Show, and you guys are the true stars of this. Without you guys, none of this happens. So with that being said, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show, and we will be live on Monday at 7 a.m. to recap more of this Cardinals team and look forward to the future. See you guys on Monday at 7 a.m.